Konnan, did you watch AEW last night?
1,000.
Okay, I did too. And I watched. There were specific spots that I got aggravated and fast forward, but I mostly watched most of the show like in real time because at 8:00 it comes on, and I like I'll pause it sometimes if I'm away, and but when it started at 8:00, I put it on. And I started watching it. But Joe, what was the number on the show?
AEW last night did.
I don't know. I'm thinking. Let me guess.
Oh wait, okay.
I'm thinking the number was underwhelming just because I'm not a Ring of Honor fan, and this was kind of like a hyped Ring of Honor tribute to the guy and stuff. But like, I don't know how that would resonate with the audience and viewers. Yeah. So I would think it'd be less than it was last week, but I may be wrong because I don't know how this audience views Ring of Honor and Jay Briscoe and stuff. So what was it?
It was 1,003,000.
Okay, so that's up like 33,000. So yes. It's like so it's a tribute show. It felt important. Yeah, so I can definitely see that, but like I wasn't in with that because I don't, bro. I've maybe watched 2 Briscoe matches in my life.
What was it last week?
Like 970.
969. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's up like 34,000. Right?
Well, they hadn't been up over 1 million for a while, right?
Right. Yeah. No. But then like it was 6 or 7. Then it been a bit.
Yeah.
They were down like 800, 970 and everything. But I'm assuming that was the reason because this wasn't really a star-studded show. Like in the big picture shows, like it's kind of weird. So all right. So it starts off with Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Action Andretti and Absolute Ricky Starks. Okay. So they started with Andretti and Guevara, and okay, Konnan, you got a lot of heat this week on Twitter the past few days. Did you notice this?
I don't give a.
I know you don't, but people were reporting that that we on this show we said like why are they pushing Action Andretti and why are the Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta really are in the spots like you. And of course,
well, I'll double down. I will double down on all. Well, finish.
Okay, so you got a lot of heat,
right?
People were saying, "Oh, Connan's keeping it." One of the quotes was, "Connan's keeping it 17."
Right.
Instead of,
I'm always keeping it 100.
Right, 100. And I'll say this, okay? And let me make my statement. I watched this first spot, and all Action Andretti's gimmick is the guy is cosplaying Will Ospreay. He's literally doing like just like all the Will Ospreay Ricochet spots, like when they worked each other. I mean, he's just out there doing like literally copying those exact spots with almost the exact same. I do a flip at the end, I land on my knee and like pose and stuff like literally that's his gimmick. Like he's literally just copying like those guys' work. And he doesn't like show much. So I watched that first sequence of them doing the fake choreographed flips, somersaults, back and forth, all this, and I fast forwarded to like go ahead.
Well, let me I'm sorry, Konnan, because Disco didn't get what they were saying, keeping it 17, the relevance, or whatever. The point was
what they say.
Why? Here's the
thing. Yeah. Here's the thing that.
Well, let you finish.
Okay, let me just say this. Yeah, here's the thing that people gotta know about me that are new to the show. I really don't give a what other people think. I'm not in any way manipulated, moved, unless I really do a dumb move that's bad for business. But my critique about certain wrestlers, I'm about to tell you why when Joe finishes.
So what it meant was the crux of it was Konnan on Action Andretti when this week he's recently brought back Alberto Del Rio and booked Marty
What
Scurll.
does that have to do with anything?
Exactly.
Okay, no, wait, because you're bringing in Marty Scurll. They're saying Marty Scurll was accused of sleeping with a girl that was 17. Connan's keeping it 17. That was the guy's joke.
Oh, is that what the number?
That was the guy's joke.
All right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing about Marty Scurll. Marty Scurll did that in England. I think that's a legal age. Am I correct or am I incorrect?
I think England is 16.
16. So she's 1 year older than the thing. It's in the United States where it's considered bad. So if in his country it's not illegal, what do I give a about it?
Right.
Was he convicted? And how long? The guys have been already ostracized. Nobody will use him for like 2 years. And guess what? To me, he's a bigger star than Andretti,
and he's talented.
Utah, or Daniel Garcia. I'll put all my money on that. Okay.
He's very talented, that guy.
Right, but everybody wants to pile on everybody. The guy hasn't been convicted. She was of legal age in England. So what is it, bro?
Right.
And like I said before, how long do we keep punishing these people? At least if they go to jail, right? They serve their sentence. But in Twitter jail, you're forever, because these yahoos who act like they've never done anything in their life that's wrong, and they wouldn't like to be judged on one stupid thing that they did or two stupid things or three, but they have no problem piling on anybody else. I stand by my decisions. And to me, Marty Scurll and ADR are bigger stars than those guys are or ever probably will be. Not saying they couldn't be stars, but here's the thing. Action Andretti is talented. I don't take that away from him. But out of all the talented guys in the business, Jericho does a job for Andretti. And then, wait a minute, on this show, he loses to Sammy Guevara. So how are you making this guy a star? Right. Now, you're either a star or you're not a star. Everybody wants to be a star, but you're not going to be a star. It's in Hollywood. Everybody wants to be Tom Cruise. Guess what? Not everybody will be Tom Cruise. Everybody wants to be Brock Lesnar. Guess what? Not everybody's going to be Brock Lesnar. And those three guys, to me, at this juncture in their career, don't come off like stars, don't act like stars. And there's 50 guys that do the same things they do. Albeit all three of them are talented. Daniel Garcia's talented. Jimmy Utah's talented, but they do the same. Jimmy Utah, to me, does the same 30 other wrestlers do.
You keep calling him Jimmy Utah because he looks like Jimmy Yank.
What's his name?
Wheeler Utah.
Wheeler Utah.
Johnny Utah was Point Break.
Right. Yeah. So my thing is, they have talent, right? But they're not stars, and they're pushed in a spot that they shouldn't be in, and they haven't really won it. And that's my point. But to AEW fans, I'm on the product. No, I'm opining. If you don't like it, I really don't give a. You can put anything you want, say anything you want.
I'll say this too. Okay, is that for what those guys do in the ring with the thigh slapping, the Japanese brother, they all wrestle like the same as like these. There's 500 indie guys out there of similar physical stature. They're not big. They're not, 260 pounds and muscular. These guys are small, and they all look kind of like the same of like these indie guys, and they all kind of do the same thing. And it's like, these guys don't stand out, and like the big picture. It's like, what? Why do you think these guys stand out when bro, I could go down, no lie. And there's some talented guys. When I trained at the FSW school, I was training Chris Bay. I was training Damian Drake. I was training. Dude, you could take Damian Drake and Chris Bay and show them a tape of like Will Ospreay versus Ricochet and say, hey guys, just plagiarize this match and do the exact same thing these guys are doing. And they could do it. And these guys are not guys with like 10 years experience and everything. Bro, like this indie style, these guys are doing tons of acrobatics, which it's been proven it's not hard to teach. Because everybody can do it now. The big guys can do it. The big guys can jump over the small guys can do this. Like these are not like skills that like stick out. And it's like on this show.
Well, not just that. Here's the thing: everybody's doing the same. So it's the same match. So the Canadian Destroyer got over. Let's have everybody do a Canadian Destroyer. The super kick is over. Let's everybody do a super kick. That Phoenix does on the ropes that now everybody does, especially in Mexico, where they jump on the rope once, twice, and then do something. Everybody does it because it gets a pop. So you're watching the same match, different guys. And let me tell you what gets over in wrestling. You know why MJF is over? Because nobody talks like him or acts like him.
And shows the body language when he's in the ring, like getting heat on the guy and punching the guy and looking like he's punching him in the face hard and stuff. Like,
you know why Ricky Starks is over? Because he does that nobody else does. He's not like everybody else. What Action Andretti's doing, Top Flight does, Phoenix does. I mean, a million guys do it. And what Jimmy Utah does is just, wrestler 2023, indie wrestler 101. Right. He's not doing anything different. Right. And on top of that, you're having a very tough time convincing me he's tough.
Right. Absolutely.
All right. So if you find something that's wrong with that okay, good. We can disagree all you want, but I doubled down on what I said.
Right. So this match was very interesting.
You know what I do like, Joe? I've never, ever, ever seen anybody, and it seems to be Sportskeeda who does this a lot.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, good. I'm glad I'm making you guys money.
Right.
Why don't you ever when I put good comments up there?
They don't
because that doesn't sell. That doesn't sell. Right. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
They're just clickbait.
God forbid you ever because 70% of the we say is positive.
Right.
Let's take the negative and accentuate that.
But let's talk about this because I'm surprised that and I heard Jericho saw Andretti and was impressed with them and said, I'm going to make this guy a star, right? And if I was the agent for this and I had all 4 of these guys here, right? And I was saying, okay, you want to make Andretti a star? It's like, okay, well, we want to put Andretti over here. We want him to get the win.
Right. Why is he losing to Sammy? Not even to Jericho, to Sammy.
But not even the way this match was laid out is weird.
Right.
Because, bro, Ricky Starks is the hotter guy right now.
Right.
All this match was Ricky Starks was in for a couple minutes and got his hit. Bro, this match was all Andretti getting all his shit in, and then he lost.
Right.
Like that was his whole match.
That's not how you get somebody over.
I know. It's like he did all his spots, and he was in the ring for like forever, doing everything, and then he got beat. I will say this, and then he dropped the ball on this, bro. The bat shot looked great at the end with what's his name, but Andretti didn't really sell it well enough. It's like that looked like a vicious bat shot, and then he kind of did the typical indie sell where you stagger. You don't like. Bro, if I get hit in the head with a bat, like anybody gets hit in the head with a bat, well, what are you going to do?
Right.
You're going to get knocked
out
to the floor. You're holding your head. The guy picks you up and puts him in the finish. He hit him in the head like with a vicious-looking bat shot. Like Garcia did his part here very well. That looked really good. And Andretti didn't really sell it well. And it just didn't get big game of finish. But I will say this. It's like you talk about like all these spots. I do not like this. This gets over to their crowd, but if Ricky Starks listens to this, dude, that spot you're doing where you're doing the walk on the top like the Undertaker and you're dancing and everything, that looks too fake. Like at some point, when you're watching that just looks like phony wrestling. Like this looks like a fake spot. Why is the guy not pulling him off? Like they're holding hands up there, so it looks ridiculous. And then Sammy gave him a cutter, a springboard cutter off the top rope, and it's just a spot. That's just like another spot in the match. It didn't mean anything. And the thing is like it's a theme throughout the show with AEW is when they have these long matches, bro. The psychology is like okay, what's the psychology? What's the story you're telling? The storytelling is nothing hurts because there's tons of devastating moves that should finish the match, like 10 or 12 of them in this, and they just don't. They never finish the match. Kick out, and the fans kind of get, bro. Watch this match. If you watch this match back again. I'm watching it. The crowd is into this in the first 10 minutes. Watch the last 5 minutes. The crowd's kind of exhausted. They're not popping on the false finishes. It's just going too long. They're doing too many kickouts. And like if you watch this, and like you'll say, like, bro, Disco's right because like this thing kind of like dragged on too long with the type of match you were doing. But like I said, either Andretti or Starks should have gone over in this match the way it was laid out. And if you want to make Andretti a star, he got all his offense in, then he should have won. But him getting all his offense in and then losing, it's like at the end of the day, like, well, he lost. It's like especially after that long, so.
Right. And wins and losses matter when you're trying to build somebody. When you're a veteran, not so much.
Right.
So let me tell you my viewpoint on this match.
Right.
They did one good booking thing and one bad booking thing, and I'll get to that in a minute. First of all, Action Andretti. That name to me is a little JoJo Feeney. Why was Sammy paired up with Andretti and not Jericho? Why isn't Jericho trying to get that win back? Okay. Right. I thought they had really good chemistry, Andretti and Jericho. Mm-hmm. Did you see that superhero pose they did after a high spot where they both did the Spider-Man pose?
Yes. Okay. They showed a lot of personality.
Well, let me just tell you, Sammy and Andretti got that from AAA wrestlers because they do it since the Marvel thing, and obviously the AAA wrestlers got it from Spider-Man. Right. I thought this was a really good opening segment, good match, a little too long for my taste, but a lot of good action. I love the fact, and I disagree with you, I love the fact when he was walking the ropes and strutting. That's wrestling, bro. Wrestling is, and nobody thinks it's real. They're having fun. It's just a moment that takes you out of whatever you're looking at, and it's a fun little thing. So I don't have no problem with it. And I absolutely love the counter by Sammy into the cutter on that.
Right.
That was really good because I did not expect it. Right. And here's the good booking thing and the bad booking thing. The good booking thing is, Daniel Garcia got reprimanded or whatever by the Wizard, for losing to Andretti on Rampage. Okay. And then it was Garcia using the bat. And I do agree with you. Can you believe the bat has a name and it's Floyd?
Right.
Anyways, I thought that was good booking, because, he'd been reprimanded and then he got his comeuppance with the bat shot. The big booking flaw here was the one you and me alluded to. If you're building a guy, he should not be losing to Sammy. He shouldn't be losing to anybody at all. And if he was going to lose, he should have lost to Jericho so Jericho could get his comeback on him. Okay. What else do I have to say about this match? I like I thought Ricky, him, MJF, and Mark Briscoe are probably the most over guys of the whole night. I mean, he's really getting a good, people are really behind him. And I like when they were saying, we want Ricky until he did the hot tag. And I like the people saying, F you, Sammy. Good match.
All three guys were all in on trying to get Action Andretti over this match.
Right. But that's not how you get them over.
Right. And all three of them had to kind of take a step back to their push.
Right.
Because Ricky Starks is hot. He should have been more but he.
Well, it's like what I said. It's like the comment I said. Now they have to go all in on this guy. Right. You're not just going to have a win on Jericho and not do anything with the guy, but you're not building him correctly.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to win.
Right.
So next is all right. So this is typical AEW that we're critical of. So Darby Allin has he's got an open challenge, and Buddy Matthews is the challenger, right?
Who looked great, by the way.
Okay, he did look great, but I will say this is a cold match. There's no backstory, there's no storyline, and this is typical fashion of AEW during Buddy Matthews' ring entrance, where the announcers can be narrating a storyline to tell about like a backstory here, why this match is happening, everything. Bro, they cut to the picture with commercial. So it's like so like this is as flat, like Buddy Matthews in this match is as flat as can be. The announcers can't even mention him or nothing. He's having a ring entrance that's in the middle of a commercial break, a picture-in-a-picture, and he looked good in this match. And he looks his work is excellent. However, bro, the guy just does not typical of like these guys. Their work is good. It's solid. It's crisp. Their spots, their physical stuff. Bro, you got to stop and work the crowd. This guy did no connection to the crowd, no healing, no nothing. He just looked like he was beating this kid up. And
Plus, to your point, before when there was like one or two great matches, in our day, they stood out. Right? But now every match is great, so none of them stand out. Everybody's a good worker. Everybody's a good match. That's why personality and charactership is so important.
I literally right now, if you're thinking about like the Jericho match,
bro, you or me could go over there right now, and a lot of people from our era and get over like that because we were so character driven.
So, perfect example. If you're thinking about, what do I remember in the Jericho, the first tag match? And, one of the immediate spots that comes to mind is when Sammy did the thing where he sat down the ring and did, the spin-a-rooney and did the pose, and Jericho and him, posed.
Right.
That sticks out in my mind as a spot that I remember in that match.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's when you connect with the crowd remembers these things. Bro, Buddy Matthews is doing nothing to connect with the crowd.
Right, he's just having another good match. On a show with people doing good matches. Now, let me just say this. I thought the Darby face on Matthews accomplished nothing except making him look mega JoJo Starbucks. So let me kazoo that. What I did like is that this is 4 or 5 weeks in a row that Darby Allin defends his TNT championship. And let me tell you why to me that's important. Because he's over, he has good matches, and for a long time, if you remember, they weren't doing anything. They were just having him and Sting in the rafters, looking like father and son going out for Halloween, nothing. Right. And this was the typical big man, little match Darby excels at, like we saw with Samoa Joe and others. And, he's over, he has good matches. So I like the fact they're featuring him every week. You know what I'm saying?
And this is why I think he's good visual TV. Is because he sticks out like a sore thumb because he lets guys literally beat the piss out of him.
Right.
For a shoot.
Right.
But as a little guy, when it's his turn to get his
he brings it.
He plays right. And it's compelling television compared
to does creative nobody does, like the tombstone drop and using the skateboard when he's used it. And also the post-match promo from Joe obviously means his thing with Allin Darby is not over. What I didn't like, because this was your typical cluster over there, and they do this once, twice every show, during the match, the lights went out, Malachi Black and Brody King came out, Sting was there, Ortiz. What was Ortiz there?
Ortiz was dressed like a college student.
Right, and why was he even in this?
I don't know. Maybe there's something happened on Rampage or.
And if Ortiz came out, why wasn't Kingston with him? Because that's his partner. Just your typical, just kind of a cluster that they do all the time.
Right, but how about that Ortiz and Santana were wearing, like, months ago they were wearing face paint. Right. They were gangster and everything, and now he had like brown slacks and a brown shirt, and like. I was like, "What?" I don't know. I didn't even know it was him.
And here's something that I don't
changing or something, because it says Eddie Kingston turned on him on the last Rampage.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
I don't watch Rampage, but anyways, by the way, let me give you. They did this on this show, by the way. I forgot what segment it was. Oh, it was Paige. It was Paige, and who challenged him?
We'll get to that.
Okay, we'll get to that. But here it is. Okay, this is the show, right? Hey, Disco.
Yo.
You're an SOB, and I'll see you on Rampage.
Pretty much. So that's what happened after the match, and Tony Schiavone interviewed Darby. And let me say one more thing about Darby.
Is that not 90% of the Rampage setup?
100%.
You're going to get it.
Yeah. Right. So I will say this, and this is one of the reasons that Darby, I think, gets over, is because you're emotionally invested, because he shows the videos of him, like, doing all the Evel Knievel.
Right.
And so, like, you're kind of worried about him in a sympathetic way when he's wrestling. It's like, dude, don't do anything stupid and get killed out there.
Bro, plus...
And, like, so it's like, right. So,
going back to what I said before, he's different than everybody else.
Right.
And it makes him stand out. And that's what these guys don't understand. They think, oh, I got to have a 5-star match. No, you don't, bro. Right. You got to have a character. I love Darby Allin. I've liked him since he wrestled in AAA because he was different. He reminded me of, like, Jeff Hardy, kind of. Yeah.
There's a great match. Cross wrestled him on an indie show.
Right.
And they had some very creative spots.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So it's like, so I was like, I was like, wow, that's
impressed.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And Darby, I think, should be the only guy doing this, because, like, this is a theme on this show. And I tweeted this, right? Bro, if you have like over 100 pounds on your opponent,
right,
there's like 100% chance you're going to lose your match at AEW.
Right.
Bro, all the small guys beat the big guys every single week. And we'll get to here's the next one. So they did so after the match, Joe did a generic promo on, they're going to wrestle next week because he wants his championship back, whatever.
Right.
So then they did a Adam Cole video. And this, okay, so then the Adam Cole video is fine, but they're really investing in Adam Cole coming back. They're giving him like the Cody Rhodes treatment on the video.
That's the same thing I thought.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So the Hardys music played, and it was interrupted by Ethan Page and said that's the wrong music. And he said he was the star of the team, and they all agreed they would be his music. Then Stokely Hathaway, they asked Stokely Hathaway asked Isaiah Kennedy if Ethan Page was a big star, and Cassian said, like, no. And then Stokely told him to put his chain on, and then Page queued up his
to take off his chain.
To take off his chain. This whole interaction was so JoJo. It was like,
right. They should have put the boots Isaiah right there.
Because it was so, like, you go, what's going on here, right? You're thinking, like, is this their version of an angle? Because this is weird. Right. So then Hook and Jungle Boy come out, and they wrestle Page and Hardy, and
bro, they gave a lot to Hook. He was throwing Ethan around like nothing, and he's way bigger than him.
They treat Jungle Boy and Hook like they're 250 pounds. That's
right.
This match was laid out like Page and Hardy were the smaller guys, and Jungle Boy and Hook are the bigger guys.
Good point.
They go over those guys, and at the end, Jungle Boy and Hook, they never showed any fire or personality. They just won. They gave the moves, and they're just like, and like after the match, there was like a 2-minute celebration. They stood on the apron or on the ropes. Nobody's like showing fire. It's like, dude, you got to show some, like, do something. They're like, they just like existed, So it's like whatever. But I'm not a fan of them constantly putting the smaller guys over the big guys on the show. It looks weird, like in the big picture. So, all right.
I didn't understand. And did you see the show, Joe, or no?
Yes.
Why is Hardy went for the twist of fate, but Page says it's his or something like that, or he called him up and he tried to do it himself? What's the deal there?
I don't know. I've never seen him fight over that move before. I don't know.
Okay, I don't understand. And obviously, they're probably leading up to Page versus Hardy. Hardy seems like Page's lackey here, which is I don't understand. Even though I'm a big Ethan Page fan. Please print that. That'll never be printed. This was a good match. Hook is over. Perry's over. You got a good point. They're beating guys all the time that are much bigger than themselves, which doesn't look that logical.
And then the match, to be logical, they were like 90-10 for the heels, and they stole one.
Yeah, but they also
50-50.
Dominated.
Right,
yeah,
right, yeah. Right. Or even 60-40, 70-30 for the small guys, right? They're getting all their shit. So it's like, all right. So this was, I don't know what you thought of this. So I want to get your opinion. So the Acclaimed, well, no, I'm going to tell you the segment here. Okay. So the Acclaimed and Anthony Bowens had their family therapy with Billy Gunn, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn. And they're all sitting in a room with a therapist in the middle and Billy and the Acclaimed on the left-hand side and the two Guns on the right-hand side. They're sitting in a semicircle in chairs, right? Like a Gamblers Anonymous meeting or something, like a Alcoholics Anonymous. So Austin and Colton complained about Billy not being there when they grew up. And Caster and Owens said the Ass Boys were wannabe versions of them. And Bowens called them the biggest pieces of he's ever met. He said they had a chance to make up for lost time with their dad, but the second they gave them any attention, they couldn't control their jealousy. And the Guns said the Acclaimed turned on them when they were supposed to be their friends, and that their own faults are Billy's failures as a father. Billy asked them what they wanted to do to make this right, and they pointed to the tag team titles. Now, the editing of this was very JoJo because they did a lot of quick edit, but I will say this: the Guns came across as baby faces in this.
They did.
And I'm like, are they turning them babyface here? Like,
no, probably not.
But I was thinking the way this could have gone was the Guns going kind of babyface could have convinced their dad that these guys were. Well, why are you with these guys? Because that's the way it was going, but they never went there. And I think they're keeping it status quo. But I thought the Guns came across better than the Acclaimed in this, and came across baby faces.
Okay, so there's a lot of things I want to say about this. Right. I love the Ass Boys, right? And I also like. I think they're
good actors.
Yeah, the smaller one is that Austin.
I think so. Yeah,
bro, I saw him do a rap video once that was outstanding. I don't know why he's never done a rap video against the Acclaimed.
Right.
I'll say this again. I love Billy Gunn, but. He doesn't fit in here. It's kind of weird. It's almost like that old cat that hang around high school. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of weird him picking these guys over his sons. Now, the Acclaim gives good matches and they're entertaining, but this to me was super underwhelming. And here's the problem with the Acclaim. When you're getting hot like they are, they can't afford to do segments like this one. Or remember that lame rap video they did not too long ago?
Right. Yeah.
This to me to me the Ass Boys came out like the baby faces, and then they came out like the heels, calling them pieces of shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I thought this was not a really good segment. I thought it was going to be funny like the WWE ones that Kane did with Bryan Danielson. This was a chance for everybody to really show their personality, and the only ones that got over as usual was the Ass Boys. They're kind of like, what's this guy's name? Like LA Knight. No matter what you do with them, they get over.
Right. Because they're good actors and they're good promos, and they're
not and they're not afraid to be annoying.
Right.
And here they turn baby faces for no reason.
Right. Well, I don't. Weird. The thing was, I think they turned baby faces just because everything they said made perfect sense.
Right.
So it's like, but maybe it wasn't heel or baby face. It just made sense.
Yeah, they shouldn't have made sense. They're the heels. They should have been. Billy says, "Hey, the reason I'm not with you guys is because you're late. You don't go on a train. You want to party. These guys are serious about their job." He doesn't really give a reason. He goes, "Oh, I can't really take any of this. I can't comprehend what's going on. So how do we fix this?" Those cuts to the psychiatrist were brutal. Her just making little facial expressions. She doesn't even look like a psychiatrist. But anyways,
Billy Gunn could have said, they say, "Hey, we want, well, why are you not with us and support us?" And everything. It's like, because then Billy Gunn could say, "Because these guys trained. These guys are motivated. You guys like to play video games all the time and are not dedicated." Like, he could have said some real shit there. You're late. You're late. You're lazy. You don't know.
Right. Yeah, this was a big miss.
Yeah, it was. So this is another big miss here because we talked about this interaction should be completely different. Okay, Hangman Page was asked what's next by Renee Paquette, who is John Moxley's wife. Okay, he said what he and John Moxley had was unfinished and wondered aloud if he could knock out John Moxley next week in Dayton, Ohio. He says it right in front of his wife, right? So it heard that. Let me ask you a question. If Stacy was interviewing me and I said, I want to knock out Konnan next week, what would Stacy say?
Well, she's got to kind of keep it professional because she doesn't. But this is what I'm thinking because it's happened twice already. Maybe he's going to do this a couple times, and maybe she's going to say, "Hey, you want to cool it?" Or you know what I'm saying? That's what they should do.
They're building up to an interaction where she finally steps up to right.
Or maybe they show off camera where she pulls him to the side and go, "Look, I'm trying to keep it professional, but you need to cut it out."
Yeah, and John told me to tell you that if you keep running your mouth,
that would be great. That would be great if that's where they're going.
Exactly. But they need to get there because this makes no sense of her just interviewing and she's just playing it by the book, right?
Right.
So that our boy Jimmy Utah, he walks up and said Moxley was talking a lot about a guy who isn't medically cleared yet, but he'd be ready and accept the challenge from Moxley. He then challenged him to a match on Rampage. And then Page questioned why he thought the same thing wouldn't happen to him. So there's our Rampage promo.
And let me give you the Jimmy Utah tough guy look.
So next was Cage against Bryan Danielson. I fast forwarded through most of this because I'm tired of watching Bryan Danielson wrestle 12 to 15 minutes every single week, and I know what the finish is going to be. It's like I know the guy's a good worker, but it's like I get it, and I just wanted to see what the finish was. He landed a leg trap German suplex, but Cage did not sell it. Then Cage powerbombed Bryan into the ropes and delivered a second powerbomb, and then set it for the third, but Bryan rolled him up for the win. I thought that was like, it's like that kind of. It's like
let me tell you what
powerbombed him for a second one. Just roll. I don't like that.
I saw this match, okay,
and now they did no selling at the end, which I don't like. The last 30 seconds was just no selling their moves back and forth, which I'm not a fan of.
Okay, I thought that the one good thing they did is they capitalized on what they did last week. So like a week ago, MJF, you remember, paid Brian Cage. Remember, he slapped him to break Bryan Danielson's arm, right? Mm-hmm. And then that's what he tried to do during the whole match. He was just working the arm, and
good psychology.
Right. Here's my question, dude. This is the AEW. Can Cage get just one win to make him credible? Bro, just one. Because you know what I'm saying? But this kind of gives Danielson an out in that Iron Man match if he's going in injured with a bad wing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the storytelling's so obvious. That's what I don't like about it.
Right. Then let me just say this. Takashita came in.
No, let me read this. After the match, Cage landed a modified Gory special, put a lot of stress on Danielson's arm. That looked very devastating. I'm still confused as to what that move actually was. Where it looked like he just jammed his arm into the ring to the mat. So they wrapped Bryan's shoulder in a chair and tossed him in the ring steps, and Cage tossed Danielson into the ring, where MJF rained down right hands on him. And Cage trapped his arm in the chair again. MJF went to the top rope, but then Takashita ran down to the ring, and MJF cleared out, and then he cleared Bryan Cage in the ring with a running knee strike, and then Takashita checked on Danielson, who wore a pained face. Let me ask you a question. What happened to the Blackpool Combat Club?
Bro, that's my question. So why wasn't Utah out there? Why wasn't Castagnoli out there? Why did Takashita come out?
Right. So
Regal left. I don't know if that kind of made them put the brakes on it,
Yeah, so but it was weird. It was weird watching Danielson.
Yeah, I know.
It was weird watching Danielson getting beat up 2-on-1 and nobody was coming to help him. He's supposed to be part of the group. But I will say this. So did you hear about Ric Flair buried Takashita on
his chops?
Okay, and then everybody came to his defense, and actually Don Callis came to Takashita's defense and actually tried to make a point that Takashita was a better worker than Flair. Okay,
what?
That's what.
Come on,
that's pretty good.
Go, Joe. Look up the tweet.
I am right now. I like that.
There is no greater worker than Flair. Bottom line.
And if Ric Flair's giving you criticism, you take it, and which is what Takashita did. He took the criticism, stuff, but of course, the AEW fans got to bury him and stuff. But I'll say this, bro. Takashita ran in, and this run-in, bro. This is a run-in. You don't throw legal forearms. You're not going to get disqualified. if you don't know how to throw punches and fight to help a guy that's getting beat up 2-on-1, it's like this is not your spot. He came in to give us some weak-looking forearms, and then like did some knee spot or whatever. But I'm like, dude, it's like throw some smoke, you know? Beat these guys up.
Because most of these guys don't know how to punch.
They don't know how to punch.
Here's the other thing. I did like when Danielson caught Cage in that label lock. And then he got out of it, and he goes, "Who's better than Cage?" Obviously, an homage to his boy Chris Kanyon.
Right. Yeah. So the next was Toni Storm, who turned heel last week, and we still haven't heard any explanation why she did. But again, she's heel now, and she's wrestled Ruby Soho, and the wrong person went over here because he just turned Toni Storm heel, and she was the bigger girl and better worker in this match and looked more physical and violent. Ruby Soho does not know how to fight for real. I bet if she had gotten a real fight with one of the girls, she'd get the absolute kicked out of it because she throws forearms like in hockey, like a check. Like she's going like this. Like her feet are flat-footed. She's got no like body motion or like torque. She's just like shoving her forearm into the girl when she strikes.
Yeah,
no, and it looks atrocious. It's like she doesn't know how to fight. So she shouldn't.
I never really saw what was what made her.
She doesn't know how to strike. So this is why I tell professional wrestlers when I train them. Bro, if you have something that doesn't look good, stop doing it. Because when you do something that doesn't look good, you don't look good. She doesn't look good when she's striking the girl with the forearms because they look like literally they don't look like they could hurt like an 8-year-old girl. You know, so it's terrible. So then Britt Baker music played.
Right.
She walks out on the stage and that distracts Toni Storm and allowed Ruby to land her finish for the win. So that was weird. I didn't get that.
Here's the thing. So Toni Storm helped Saraya, I think it was last week, beat down Willow Nightingale. Okay.
Right.
And then Ruby Soho came out to her aid. So I like the booking thread here. Finally, they're kind of like the cage match. They kind of followed what they did the week before, which has not always been the case. Okay.
Right.
I thought this match was good. What I didn't like is when she was faking that injury, which is so overdone, and you knew what was going to happen. It happened. She was faking it. Okay. Serves you right for believing her. I don't understand why Ruby Soho isn't with the WWE team and she's on the AEW, because that's so easy. It would be her, Saraya, and Toni Storm, ex-WWE against the AEW girls.
They kind of like sound like the Ruby Soho was an AEW original kind of, right?
Which she's not. And so that I don't like. I think, and this might be where Tony kind of was reading the room's temperature. I think he's seen how people were turning on Toni Storm. I said it before. I've always been a big Saraya fan, but she got stale quick. And I think people weren't really behind her. And I think he knew they were going to turn on them. So he turned them, I think, But, and of course, no matter what, if she's not wrestling, Britt Baker has to be on the show. I mean, this is incredible. She's so overexposed.
So next is
this is just real quick. The Don Callis Takeshita Flair stuff. Sorry.
Right.
The one tweet just says, no, or I bet Flair would have took those chops. He would have wooed all the way to the hospital. And Don Callis says, no, Flair was very tough and he took a lot of punishment. Takeshita is just a far superior athlete. And then later he responds to the same guy who says, or he's responding to a Flair clip. And Don says, as I mentioned, Takeshita is twice the athlete and a better wrestler than post 89 Flair.
So there you go. He may be more athletic, but he wasn't the wrestler that Ric Flair was.
Better wrestler than post 89 Flair.
Right.
Yeah.
From 1990 on, Ric Flair,
right.
Takeshita is a better wrestler.
He was still putting over bums.
We got to get Don on it. We got to get Don on this show.
And think about 92 Rumble Flair and Vader at Starrcade.
Bro, I wrestled Flair in 97, 96. And he was still good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're still great.
Yeah.
All right. So they did MJF did a promo. Oh, this is funny. So they did a promo and for next week. He's backstage. He addressed Takeshita and told him I guess they're setting up him and Takeshita because he cut a promo on Takeshita next. So I was like, whatever. Then he said next week he's going to wrestle Timothy Thatcher.
Right.
Which is like, all right. All right.
They did one thing they never do. They actually showed a video of Timothy Thatcher.
Right.
Yeah.
So next was
Now I like MJF's second promo in a week where he's more sinister, not one-liners, right?
Right.
Because I think that's what this feud needed. And for the guys that one guy on the mailbag, I think it was this week, where he was like, "Oh, you guys are always offending MJF. I don't know what's the big deal." Look at this promo, dude, and look at how over he is as a heel when he came out.
Yeah.
He's the MVP of that promotion.
So I'm not going to be politically correct here,
right?
And I'm probably going to get heat,
right?
But they did a package for Jamie Hayter versus some girl named Emi Sakura, I think, who is who looks like just a chubby Japanese girl.
Right?
That's what she looked like. I have no clue who this is or not, and they try to make her look important. It's like, but it's like, it's like, who is this, right? So whatever. Like, but they have enough girls on this roster.
They need to do a better job of building up their opponents. You just can't show a video.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't watch the main event because I heard it was I heard Jay Lethal was crying before he came, and I didn't want to. I honestly, I like Jay. I don't want to. I didn't want to see that, to be honest.
Well, let me tell you.
I didn't watch this, but
tell me if you think I'm wrong here.
Go ahead.
Okay. To me, pro wrestling's always been the best when you mix fantasy with fact, and you don't know when you mix them together, right?
Right.
So obviously everybody was emotional. The one thing they do, and you saw it with the Brody thing, is they're very classy. When they do these things, like this was very classy. Everybody coming out and applauding, and after the match. And Lito obviously was crying, and this was 8 days after his brother died, and I believe it was his brother's birthday, even worse.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with me, bro, and this is the heel booker in me. This, and maybe it wasn't the right place because it was a feel-good moment, but this to me would have been a perfect place for Jeff Jarrett and Sanjay Dutt to get some heat. Yeah,
to come out and attack.
Mark, right after the match, and all three of them leave him laying.
I'm with you. But the fans would have cried.
Would you have done that, Disco, or no?
I mean, I probably. I don't know. I've never. I got a weird flex here on this, just because like they're still invested in the Ring of Honor brand.
Right.
Okay, and I know a lot of their fan base likes this stuff and all that, but it's like, they made Jericho the champion. They put all their belts on the show and stuff, and like the whole point was to try and get a TV deal. Okay, well they didn't get the TV deal. I think they're going on a streaming service, and I'm like,
yeah,
at some point, I'm like, I get it, but it's like the Ring of Honor brand is not. It's kind of dragging your product. It's not. You're not going to advance your product constantly making this part of your show, because Ring of Honor never drew like WCW, WWE, or like even AEW. Like the AEW has former WWE talent, WCW talent, but like the Ring of Honor talent is just like. There's a lot of people just never.
But
really
it did
saw
last night. But,
let me try to explain real quick from just a regular fan's point of view, right? Like I was never a guy that attended a lot of Ring of Honor shows. I kind of missed the era, but I knew about it. But when I heard the name Ring of Honor, or I saw they had a pay-per-view or something, I would kind of go out of my way to watch it, because I knew that name meant, oh, I'm going to see a good wrestling show, right? But that's not special anymore, because AEW is Ring of Honor. AEW is the company now that you see the name AEW. Oh, these are going to have great matches. It's going to be crazy high spots and all. It does what Ring of Honor did. There's no need for Ring of Honor, because AEW is Ring of Honor, basically. It's the same style, So what makes Ring of Honor special at this point?
It's almost like Ring of Honor is their NXT.
That would be, that would make sense.
Right, yeah. So, all right, so that's in our AEW review.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Boom.